This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm your host, Sharon Lynn Wyatt, creator of Namology Science and author of Know the Name, Know the Person. And in each weekly show, you'll hear the fascinating ways other people discovered the genius in them and what they were able to accomplish. At the end of each show, you'll hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. All over the world, people have many, many diverse interests. And in that vein, people have asked about different occupations and areas of life that have highly interested them. People want to know how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset by utilizing the gifts that are seen in their names via Namology Science. So how does someone express their creative talent? And how does someone share those gifts with others in such a way that everybody benefits? Our expert tonight is Elizabeth Joyce, who gives the divine credit for her genius in the area of psychic abilities and as an energetic healer. Healing has occurred simply by being in her presence or by voice activation or vibration. Being one of two sets of twins, she has been psychic since birth. She is a popular, gifted speaker on the unknown mysteries, higher realities, and higher wisdom. The dreams, visions, highly accurate predictions, and miracles have been documented through national media. Beginning with the Monica Lewinsky Bill Clinton prediction in 1997, Elizabeth is one of the very few psychics worldwide that picked up on the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, the Japanese and Haitian earthquakes, and the 2001 Twin Towers tragedy in New York City. Thousands of people have witnessed Elizabeth Joyce's incredible psychic powers on TV shows, such as Unsolved Mysteries, Beyond Chance, and The Psychic Detective, as well as CNN News. She is a frequent guest on radio shows across the country, including Coast to Coast AM. She has been profiled in Women's Day magazine, Wall Street magazine, the National Enquirer, the New York Times, and other national media. Elizabeth is the author of numerous articles and guided meditation audio cassettes. She has been profiled by others in 12 books, including The World's Greatest Psychics in 2004 by Francine Hornberger and the revised release America's Top 100 Psychics in 2014. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, dream analysis, past life regression work, mediumship, astounding psychic gifts, accurate predictions, and spiritual guidance. Elizabeth and her organization, Visions of Reality, teach classes and seminars on improving your psychic abilities and intuitive abilities, as well as the new spiritual chakras. Elizabeth's name indicates that she has a strong sense of self and is an independent thinker. Per her name, she is queen among her peers and leads many. Thus, it would not be surprising to hear others mimic her predictions and claim them as their own. Her name also indicates that she's not afraid to confront others with what she sees and to speak her truth, regardless of others' opinions, which is highly necessary in her line of work. Elizabeth's name also indicates a great deal of caring about other people, where she emotionally wishes everyone well. Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You radio show, Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be here, Sharon.
You know, you were psychic since birth. When and how did you share this ability with your family so that they too recognized your gifts?
My family never did recognize my gifts. It's the same thing as if you read about the Lord and how he was in his town of Nazareth and they rebuked him. It wasn't my family, but it was my grandmother, who didn't live in New Jersey. She lived in New Hampshire. She was a shaman. She was part Indian and born in Maine, and was brought up on getting to know and be in harmony with nature, which was amazing. So when I was little, the first time story I heard when I got older was that when I was 3 years old, I crawled over to her and I put my hands around her left ankle and I said, "I don't want you to break your leg, Grammy." And she could feel the tingling in the body that one feels when they have energetic healing. 3 days later, she fell down the stairs and she badly sprained her ankle, but she didn't break it. And she told my mother, she said, "I've been waiting to see which one of your children would have the gift. This is the one that does." She said, I felt her healing when she put her hands around my ankle. And that's an amazing story. I really don't remember it.
Well, that is amazing, but that was only the first of many, isn't it, when you were growing up?
That was the beginning, and that's what my grandmother knew. And then, of course, she went back to New Hampshire and I stayed in New Jersey. And I guess a lot of things happened when I was little. There were predictions that I made here and there, and some people didn't understand it. But then when I was 8, I got ill, and I got to go to New Hampshire and live with my grandmother for a year. And that's when she trained me and taught me about the future. And everything...
We need to take a break. Stay
Okay.
tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can also be heard on knowthename.com. After the break, we'll hear predictions that Elizabeth Joyce has made that can benefit all of us by knowing what is coming next.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyatt, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Our guest tonight is Elizabeth Joyce, whose website is new-visions.com. Okay, before the break, Elizabeth, you were telling us you got to stay for a year with your grandma, and she trained you.
Yes. And
What did
she
you
also,
learn from her?
I learned about animals, and I learned about responsibility, about not being in fear. I was safe there. I also learned the way that she disciplined, which was so different from the punishment I had endured. When she was upset with you or when you had been naughty, she would give you a mat and send you outside to find a tree. And you had to go and sit under the tree, and you couldn't come back into the house until you could tell her what you had done that was wrong and why she was angry with you. She never used the word "I'm sorry." She wanted you to understand what you had done and what the upset was. And then she would always have a chore for you to do, like put the dishes away or sweep the floor or set the table for dinner. And that's how you learned. So that when I did get her upset, oh my goodness, it would break my heart.
Oh, yes, because she came from love.
Yes, she came from love.
When did you decide to share your gift with the world? Because there's a lot of risk of rejection when you decided to do so. I mean, anybody would have had that.
Well, I decided to share my gift after I met my first outside teacher, and that was I had 2 children, and my second husband had dropped dead, and my stepson had been murdered. And then about 9 months later, I was hit by a drunk driver with my children in the car, and I had the out-of-body experience. And that story was written in Women's Day magazine in 1989. But I had an intense out-of-body experience, and Joey and Ron came to me and told me to go back. They sent me back as I was reaching for the light and said I had to write. And so I returned. And then I started having a recurring dream, and it was about a house explosion in Houston, Texas, and there was oil wells and a trailer park, and I saw this house with a battered front door and this body shooting out of the roof and going into the back, into the tumbleweed. I got so upset by it that I finally called somebody, a friend of mine who was a social worker. Her name was Brenda, and I asked her if I could come and talk to her. So I started to tell her about the dream, and she turned white. And she said, "You don't know much about me, but I was born in Houston, Texas, and my aunt is missing. She was caught in the Houston oil well explosions, and we can't find her body. We don't know if she's dead or if she was out visiting somebody or where she is." So I took a pad and a pencil, and I drew her a map, and I showed her where the body was, and they found the body within 3 hours. That freaked me.
Your life has had some remarkable events and turning points in it. Including who you've come in contact with. The only one we're going to do of interest on a person, per se, is Shirley MacLaine, because she's another pioneer in the spiritual field. Tell us about your encounters with her.
Well, I met Shirley right after the harmonic conversions, but at that time I was with my second teacher. My first teacher, Brenda, and I started learning lessons from, and then I went to Vermont later, and I met my second teacher, and she was the one that invited us to Santa Fe for the harmonic conversions. And I met Shirley briefly there. And then Shirley started teaching. She went across the country teaching her 2-hour, it was a fabulous production. And I went to it in Boston. I forget what she called it. I think she called it Inner Workout, because she had just made her video cassette of the chakras, working the chakras, and she called it Inner Workout. So I went to that, and that's when I met her. She wanted to meet me because she was asking the audience questions, and I told her I was one of 2 sets of identical twins, and that made her say, "Oh, come up here and talk to me and let me know what that's like." It was very interesting. But I've met a lot of people, a lot of stars. I was on American Bandstand when I was younger, and then I worked in aviation in corporate jets, so I met stars from everywhere all the time.
Wow, your life is fascinating, and I understand you have a book coming out on that, which we're going to address later. Okay, let's get to your predictions. Let's start with the government and how you see things changing with Donald Trump in office. Is people either love him or hate him?
Well, he's on his way out. I'm not saying that for good or for ill. I'm just saying he's on his way out. And the reason that he has to be is astrological. You know, Sharon, that I am an astrologer and I write columns all across the country. I think he's going to have a nervous breakdown. He has unresolved mental conflicts that he hasn't dealt with. And I see him yelling and screaming and throwing a temper tantrum in public at the White House. And I see him being contained, and they're going to finally say he must resign. Tillman is going to resign. He's the Secretary of State. Scaramucci is a monster. The Attorney General Sessions is fired. If he is fired, it won't be okay because Congress will gather together and say that this has to stop. You know, when he went into office, I was on Rob McConnell's show, The X Zone, and I predicted that the office was going to have a swinging door. Just like in the bar, you know, the swinging doors, people were going to come in and walk out and come in and walk out. My goodness, I can think of at least 6 that's happened to. But the one that you have to watch is his son-in-law. I predict his son-in-law may be the next president. Jared Kushner?
Oh, that's interesting.
Well,
yeah, and not Ivanka, huh?
I predict that Jared will be the next, and I think that he can be very dangerous. I think we don't know enough about him. But as I was reading about him, I got a very strong feeling. We will have a negative leader before we go back into positive vibrations. And I think it's Jared Kushner.
That will be interesting to see what happens.
The whole point that saddens me, Sharon, is that 50% of the Americans are on drugs. I don't know how bad it is in Canada, but I don't think it's as bad there as it is here. People are lost. People are screaming, "Help me. Help me. What can I do?" And they don't know that commercialism and wanting something and getting it is not the way to happiness. You know, 12-year-olds are given anything that they want in this country. And when you go onto drugs, wisdom dies in your head. We are having a culture without wisdom. People are in pain, and it's an epidemic. Why is society as a whole in such pain? And because they have expectations that are based on falseness. Money, sex, food.
Yeah, well, it affects the schools, too. You see really talented people getting out of teaching.
There's no more discipline. There's no discipline, no responsibility. I just wrote a book on limited realities, and the first chapter is dedicated to children and how to discipline because we don't have it. 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds run the house. I went over to counsel some parents the other day because their 9-year-old is pulling knives on them. Okay?
Oh my, that would be scary.
But this is happening everywhere. It's not anything new, and it is scary because they don't know what to do. They give her everything she wants or she'll have a hissy fit. And this isn't right. And it's certainly not the way to inner happiness. Inner happiness... Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it makes it very difficult in the classroom when the children that are not disciplined at home get into that classroom, and then you have 20 of them.
My twin sister was a teacher in the New York City school system for 25 years. It was awful. I couldn't believe it. Even when I had gotten out of college and would go and see one of the plays that she would produce for the high school kids, they were in the auditorium, standing up and screaming, yelling, throwing food back and forth to each other. Nobody said a word. Not one adult disciplined those kids. Now, back in my day, when I was in school, you didn't do that. You didn't dare do that. Not only would you have punishment from the teacher, but you'd have punishment when you got home.
Right.
And the parents don't want to hear it.
Today.
If a parent today is called to school about the child, they get mad at the child for putting them out. They get mad at the school for not taking care of it. They don't want to be responsible. I was just going to say they get mad at the people at school. Yep.
Okay. So let's switch and talk about weather. How will water keep affecting our nation?
Water? Oh, well, we're dividing. The nation is being split in two. Not only is it being split in two emotionally, but physically, because the Great Lakes are going to start coming down. The Ohio River, the Missouri River, and the Mississippi River are coming together as one. And that means that all that land in there is going to be gone. And the rivers are going to come down through New Orleans, and we're going to have to build a bridge beyond St. Louis all the way over to Youngstown, Ohio. Is going to be water. We're going to lose Memphis. We're going to lose St. Louis. We're going to lose Jackson and Biloxi and part of New Orleans as these three rivers come together. And really, nothing can stop it. You know, we have the eclipse coming in August, on August 21st, eclipse in Leo, and that is going to cause some earth movement and earth changes, although I do not believe that it will affect Yellowstone. People are talking about Yellowstone and the dead, dormant volcano that's underneath. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do see the water coming together, and the rain has not let up. You know that, right?
Right. That's why I was asking about water. Okay. And we only have about a minute left until our next break. But what about earthquakes in California or the Madrid Fault? Are you seeing those coming?
Not the big devastating one yet. I'm not sure when it will come. We're going into some trying times in 2020, and it might be during those 10 years. I don't see it yet. I do see the three rivers coming together, and that's probably enough at this stage. The oceans are going to come in 5 miles.
So if the oceans are coming in, like what happens with Florida? Is that coming anytime soon?
Yes, that is. The glacier just broke off in South America now, in the South Pole, I'm sorry. And I do believe that that's going to create, but I think it's going to take some time. I think it's 2 to 3 years. We won't have any more oceanfront property because that's not going to be the oceanfront. I see Florida coming up as high as Jupiter or Venice and Jupiter and Tampa. I think it'll go up that high, and the rest of Florida will be lost.
Wow. Well, we need to take another break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. This show is dedicated to hearing about the future. After the break, we'll find out more about Elizabeth Joyce's amazing predictions. Her website is new-visions.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Elizabeth Joyce, who can be reached via her website, which is new-visions.com. Elizabeth, before the break, you were telling us how we're going to be losing a lot of Florida if it's coming all the way up to Tampa. And you see that happening in the next 2 to 3 years? So what would your advice be to people that are living in Florida?
I see it's starting to happen as that iceberg starts to move. So I don't really have the timing. It's going to start. The oceans are going to start to come in. This is a slow process. This could be a 30 to a 40-year process. But it's going to start to happen within the next 2 or 3 years. I also want to say that it's not all doom and gloom out there. There's a lot of good things happening, especially medical breakthroughs, technology breakthroughs, and people beginning to find who they really are. Instead of sitting in a cubicle all day, we're going to start to go within, and we're going to start to decide what we want to do to be happy and balanced. And that's a gift.
That's a real gift. You have a new book coming out, Visions of Reality. Are you willing to share anything about that? It's out now. Wonderful. What can you tell us about Visions of Reality?
Well, Visions of Reality
Okay.
is a book that I dreamt about in 1981. It was after the car accident. I had a dream about a stained glass window. It was a circle, and it was a piece of holding the palm branch, the olive branch. And down in the lower right-hand corner, it was still black and white, but the rest was just brilliant. It was just, you know how you have one of those translucent dreams where you see colors that are so gorgeous? Anyway, I knew that the black and white part was the part I still had to live. And I knew I had to write that book. Now, that was in 1981. It just came out July 7th. So that's how
That's a long time
this
in the
book has
making.
been in front. Yeah. And the whole focus of it is to show people that no more do we have to go up to the top of a mountain in Tibet or go over to India and sit at the foot of a guru to go within and find out what and who we are. This is an inherent right, is ours, and we can transcend anything that comes by going within and beginning to listen to the universe and to the invisible forces that be. Who knows what you will hear? Who knows what you will feel when you do that? And it always will get you out of any problem that you're in. We always have emotional responses to bad news, sad news, or anything else, things that happen to us. I don't want that to happen. That's not okay. Everybody's picking on me. Why is this happening? And we feel like we're out of control, but we're not out of control. Nothing happens by accident, and everything that comes to you is supposed to come to you. What you need to do is to sit and get quiet and listen and decide what and how you're going to handle it, whatever comes. And everybody, and I mean everybody, in the next 6 weeks are going to have tremendous change. And that includes the world, not just the United States. We're going to have change because this eclipse is coming at 29 degrees Leo, and it starts in Seattle, and it goes right across the country and out through Charleston, South Carolina. It's going to change our country. Do you know the last time we had an eclipse like that here was in the 12th century?
Oh, a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Not that we haven't had them, we have, but we haven't had one like this.
Well, I kept hearing from different astrologers that September is going to be a very challenging month for everybody, and you're saying
And
we're not waiting until September is starting earlier.
September
So
has Mercury retrograde in it, and they're going to start messing with our money. There's a scheme, and I can tell you about that if you'd like.
Yeah, please do.
Well, they're going to try to take away cash. They're already doing it. They're no longer printing $100 bills or $50 bills, and they're going to just let them circulate out. And they're going to start a new money system because I believe the United States will no longer be the money guide for the world. Other countries are already going around it. China is trading with Russia. European companies are trading with each other. They don't have to come to the United States and get it cleared anymore. So everything is changing. And they're going to start something called the Fed coin. And it will not be money. It will be digital money. And it is very, very, very dangerous. My grandmother told me about this back when I was with her at 8 years old. And this Fed coin, they're going to want you to put in use it as a bank account. So they want you to put in your funds, your savings, your IRA, your Social Security, and they can go in and take money out anytime they want. They can take taxes out, and you won't be able to say a word. They will not be breaking the law. And there'll be no paying anybody under the table in cash. They're going to document everything, and they're also going to control where you can buy. So say, Sharon, you're in the country and you need to have a gun and you want to go buy bullets, but you won't be able to buy bullets because the card won't clear it. Can you imagine that? Or you want to go to a specialty store to buy some food, but it's not in your neighborhood, so you can't do it. This is what's coming. This is what they want, and they're going to sell it. Oh, it'll be safe. and you won't be robbed. There won't be anything at ATMs anymore, and they're going to say it's also patriotic to do it, like they did with the U.S. savings bonds back in the World War II. But this is very dangerous, and you will lose all of your freedom. And I don't know. I know it's coming. I don't know how to combat it except talk about it. And now they're going to chip. I don't know if you heard, but in Wisconsin, a business that's a foreign business is going to chip all their employees. That's it. You take the chip and you won't be able to meditate anymore. You won't be able to go to higher levels. Every time you go up to a high vibration, you'll get an electric shock.
Oh, that's scary.
That's what they're going to do. My grandmother told me no matter what happens, don't take the chip. Even if you have to have your head cut off, don't be afraid, but don't take the chip.
Now, you talk more about that on your own radio show. Do you want to guide us to one of those shows, or how do we get to your radio show to hear more about that?
I'm going to repeat that show this weekend because I'm going to be doing Shirley MacLaine's show, which is going to be great. So Sunday night on bbsradio.com, the name of my show is Let's Find Out, and I will repeat, Where Has All the Money Gone this weekend? So they can listen to it Sunday night at 9 o'clock.
Great. Thank you. You know, let's address your website for a minute because there's so much information on it, from monthly predictions to astrology, even Chinese astrology, numerology, tarot messages, timely articles, podcasts, along with your own radio show information and other shows like Coast to Coast where you've been interviewed. How does someone gain access to all of that information on your site?
They just have to go to new-visions.com, and across the top there's a bar with subjects, and then you can click on the bar and it'll drop down into a menu, and then you can go in to the various ways. I do have a monthly newsletter that there is a charge for that. It's like $25 a year, and I do writing at the end of every month. I do predictions and I do the astrology. I also do numerology, a little numerology thing where I tell you what your year is, and then you read what's happening, like your 4-year. I'm in a 2-year. You know what you're in, Sharon?
I'm in a 7-year.
That's a wonderful year. That's a sabbatical year. And you can read what will be happening, what you can expect in the next month. Just a little paragraph, but it's very focused, very timely. And it helps people know what the energy is.
Yeah, and then it's easier to cope because you've got an idea of what's coming. Okay,
yes.
Let's continue with your predictions. Will the riots, demonstrations, and perhaps, other things along that nature continue to take place here in the United States?
I think they're going to get worse. I see Chicago is a very dangerous area, and it has become that. I've been saying Chicago since last summer, and I don't know why, but I see so much happening in Chicago. Yes, we are going to continue to have the demonstrations and the riots, and I want to say that I think John McCain had an epiphany yesterday when he voted down the health care program, because if that health care program goes into being without being straightened out, we will close nursing homes, the elderly won't have any care, and they'll have to live with their children, and people will try to save their child from dying of cancer, and they'll have to mortgage their house and everything they have, and it will be horrible. Can you just picture it? And then they close down the Medicare support because they want everything. They want the money. And this has to stop. Why can't the insurance companies make a health care plan that's fair, that doesn't rob the people, that doesn't have to have a prescription follow-up or a referral, that can just it's got to be different. It's got to go back somehow to the way it used to be.
So along with that health thing, there's so many rumors of vitamins and nutrients being banned. What are you seeing in that?
They've been trying to do that for years. I don't know whether that will come about so fast, but it could happen if we get the wrong people in power. And I know that they have done it in other countries. They've done that in Germany, for example. herbs will be banned because they're poisonous. They interfere with your medication. And nobody knows anything about muscle testing. Medication, it's ridiculous. If you go in and get diagnosed with, say, high cholesterol, you know they're going to tell you, well, there's 5 different pills you can take, and we'll try this one first. They don't muscle test you to find out, A, whether the body can tolerate it or not, and B, how much dosage you should have, and for how long. Your body will tell you that. Your body will tell you whether you can tolerate it, whether you should take it, and for how long, and how much. It's amazing.
I was recently in seeing the doctor, and they asked, like, which drugs are you on, which whatever, and I said, I'm on no drugs, and they just looked at me and said, no, really, which drugs? Aren't you taking this and this and this? And I said, no,
They've asked me that, too.
And I think they're just amazed when people can go in and say, no, we're actually healthy.
Well, I just celebrated my 75th birthday, and we had a great party.
Yahoo!
And that is making me enter my golden years. After you're 75, you enter your golden years. I am not on one medication, not one. And they call me up all the time. We want to send a nurse to your house once a month. I said, who are you? Well, we work with your insurance company. I go, I'm not going to make you wealthy. Number one, I don't have any medication. Oh, well, you have to at your age. I said, I have no medication. Yes. And number two, I wouldn't let you come to my house for $1 million because you're not going to do it. I don't need to be watched over. Now, other people think, oh, that's a wonderful thing that the insurance companies do. I don't. I think it's a money-making scheme.
Must be. We need to take our last break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what Elizabeth has in her name that has assisted her, that you may have in your name as well.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Elizabeth Joyce, whose website is new-visions.com. She has taken her psychic skills to a level where she's able to predict what's coming next. She then assists others to make wiser choices as they know how to prepare for the future. Elizabeth, would you speak to us about meditation and its benefits?
Oh, yes, let's do that. Meditation is important, and I think that we're all, as a human being society, going to have to understand that when you raise your consciousness to a higher level, miracles happen or certain things happen, and they're natural, but we just have not been taught how to access them. When you go to higher levels, your pain and stress disappears. It helps your blood pressure and your body's circulation. It helps the heart lift higher and feel more open and kind. And do you know the heart is the only organ in the body that doesn't get cancer? I think that's very interesting.
Didn't know that.
And you're all open to wiser thoughts. I really think that the brain electronic wavelengths go to higher levels and bring back new thoughts. And the new thoughts are kinder, uplifting, helpful, and they can help you in any situation. So supposing you were out food shopping and a woman in front of you looked confused. All you would have to do is stop, look at her aura, take a deep breath, and figure out how you could help her. And you would be directed. That's the benefit of meditation. Meditation can bring you warnings, messages about your family and loved ones. Meditation can protect. Meditation can heal you, and you can send healing out to other people. As you go along and as you build up the muscles inside and the responses, your electronic field grows stronger in the power of love. Love is everything. Love conquers all. Love is magical.
Is there a right and a wrong way to do meditation?
Well, I can't say that.
Right?
I can say no. I don't think there's a right and a wrong way. I think if you try it, that's a step in any religion or any belief system that you have. I do have a system that I like to talk about, which are in my trilogy books. I wrote 3 books in 2013 about all my classes that I've been teaching for 30 years, and how to establish your meditation practice is in that book, and they're very clear. But just in the morning, if you just open up the crown or the top of your head and pull in the light and say thank you for bringing me this love energy today, and may I walk with it through the day, and may it touch everyone I meet. And then at night, with a notebook, you want to do nightly review and think about your day and what happened during the day, and then make notes. Find gratitude. What can you be happy for? Even if you saw your favorite bird in the backyard, that's something. And then think about whether you had an altercation, whether you had an upset or not. What happened? How did that occur? How do you feel about it? And you have 24 hours to make amends. If you live your life that way, it will be a gift both to you and to the people around you.
Wonderful. Real quickly, what's going to happen to Social Security? I mean, would you advise people who are eligible to enroll but are waiting to do so to go ahead and do it now, or to keep waiting?
I think right now that you should leave it in the system. What I told you is not to go to this Fed coin. I don't know how we're going to stop it. I hope we can. I hope it doesn't come in to being. Just know that it's a con job, and know that just like you wouldn't trust me with your computer, Sharon, you wouldn't if you didn't know me and I came in and I said, oh, I want to be able to go into your computer. You wouldn't do it because of security reasons. We can't let anybody do it. And the technology is getting so they can hack it anyway, which is something we have to keep our eye on. But I want you to have $5,000 of cash in the house, and I want you to buy gold. Gold coins and silver coins are going to be the future bartering exchange. I knew that the BRICS money from England, was going to be well received, and it is well received, and it's a test. It's a test to see if other nations can go to computerized money and take away your cash. The standard is gold, and Nixon in the 1970s took away the gold standard. Therefore, all we have is paper. So they print paper, but there's nothing to back it up. And that's why they're taking away the cash, and they're going to put it on the computer, and you will never be free again. Everything can be taken in one day. It can be taken in one day. You know, Belgium did a transfer with their euro dollars, and it was 80 billion, and it disappeared in cyberspace, and they still don't have it back. So that's what I'm talking about. We just have to, people, you have to start getting rid of everything that you haven't used in 2 years. Now, if you've recently moved, and I know you have, you know how to get rid of stuff. You have to get rid of it and give it away to other people or sell it or whatever you want to do. Hunker down and be prepared to go through 7 years of problems before we can come back to the love again, starting in 2020. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Okay. I've read on your website, if I remember reading it correctly, that we're now in the years of prosperity until 2020, the years of famine from 2020 to 2027, where there's unpredictable weather conditions, contaminated ocean life, and possible nuclear exchange. And then we go from there into war from 27 to 34. And you don't state it, but I'm asking, is that a civil war? Talk to us about these 3 time periods.
Well, you know, timing is difficult. They could come sooner as well, but timing is difficult. The famine is from all of the earth changes that we're going through right now. I mean, I can tell you that the crops in California and in our growing areas have not done well this year, so food will skyrocket. We need to have small cars that drive well, that have good mileage and that are strong, because these huge cars aren't going to be able to be driven. They'll all be left on the road. Things are going to change, and it's not going to be the same as it was. So we have to prepare for it. Prepare to have a garden. Prepare to have a wood stove if you need it. Prepare to have a generator. You say these things over and over again, and people don't listen. Although I will tell you, here in my suburbs, people are getting generators into their house, which I think is interesting. That's the new fad here. Get a generator.
Does it need to be like a big generator? I mean, what if somebody knows nothing about generators?
If you know nothing about generators, you have to know somebody that does and throw a switch. You have to have somebody come in and do it for you. Everybody is having the company come and put it in, of course. But how can we live without electricity? Not that we're going to have that. It's not anything to fear, but it does happen. And can you live 3 weeks without electricity? You know, Montreal, Canada had to do that in a snowstorm last year. There was no electricity for 3 weeks. How did they do it? The communities got together. They all helped each other, and that's what's coming. We're all going to have to reach out to each other and to be helpful, and we will get through it. In the meantime, the consciousness is going to raise. We're going to go through a complete transformation, and we're going to become better human beings in the long run, because spirit grows and getting closer to the other side grows when you go through turmoil. And this is going to be worldwide turmoil. Look at the millions of people that are leaving their countries and that are becoming nomads, going into other countries and trying to restart again. You know how that's been going, Sharon.
Yeah,
can you imagine living
very
there?
Difficult.
It's got to be incredibly difficult. But this is the shift that we're going through, and it's supposed to be 7 years in and 7 years out. So I know that it's going to get better down the road. We just have to know that, and you have to have hope, and you have to love every moment that you can as you go through these changes. Because what's coming out of it is going to be a completely different value system, a completely different monetary system, a different rulership system, and more harmony between human beings. 1,000 years of peace. That's what's coming from this. And I think that's the focus that we have to concentrate on.
From all of my travels that I have done around the world, I always thought people are good to other people as a whole. And then it seemed to me that governments got in the way and then caused friction.
Well, so not only governments, we have the cartels as well. Don't forget those people. There just seems to be battle. Yeah, there just seems to be battles between power. What do you want? Do you want earthly power where you beat people up and cut off their heads? Or do you want greater power, where that power will go with you once you drop the body and go into your other existence, and then another existence as you move along energetically. Do you want that? Isn't that the power that we need to seek? And that's the power of love. People are going to find out
for that
the body...
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elizabeth, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Be prepared and be surprised and pleased when you experience Elizabeth Joyce's work. Her website, again, is new-visions.com. Elizabeth Joyce's name indicates that she excels at being able to withstand others' criticisms and stay solid in her knowing. This is found in the letter combination TH. If your name has the consonant cluster TH, you too have this ability. Do you want to know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, host of the radio show Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which can be heard every weekday at various hours right here on xzbn.net. This is Sharon Lynn Wyeth, signing off.